Allison Quintano, man, what a day. We are hustling, going to try to take care of
Taking care of you guys.
Patreon folks for next week and the non-Patreon folks.
But the Patreon one's first, and then everybody else after.
Exactly, and we've been doing some interviews here and there, and may even have broken a little bit of news. You'll see in a couple of days, probably. Maybe even tomorrow.
We may leak a little bit of audio in the next
couple of days.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't know. It's something that rings in my recollection as having heard something about this previously, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I've looked for this, but it's very interesting. So, I guess the big blockbuster news today is the Peter Schwerin stuff. Not Peter Schwerin, but the Hunter Biden's former friend of Biden's, and former guy knows both of the Bidens is this guy Eric Schwerin. Peter Schweitzer talked about him today. He's going to be testifying. He didn't testify yet, did he? Schwerin? He's going to be testifying at some point very quickly. Peter Schweitzer, the author who has been on the ground floor of the Hunter Biden stuff, talked about it today.
Devin Archer was the adult in the room in terms of how this business should be structured, and he confirmed everything that everybody assumed the worst of, which is that Joe Biden was the product that this firm was selling. And he unequivocally said any people discussing or claiming that he was not involved with his son's business is totally and completely incorrect. I would add the next shoe that may drop is there's another individual involved with Hunter Biden named Eric Schwerin. If Devin Archer was the sort of business guy, the deal guy, and how you structure this, Eric Schwerin was the money guy. He's the guy that moved money around, and based on the Hunter Biden laptop, Schwerin had access not only to Hunter Biden's accounts, but also Joe Biden's accounts. So when he testifies before the committee, it's going to be interesting to see what he says and what pressure he might be under from this administration.
So I suspect when Eric Schwerin testifies and we get more information into this, the next day, Trump will get another indictment.
That's how it's been working anyway. That's the money.
Yeah, well, and they have been... They blocked off, what was that, a day or two ago? They blocked off the road in front of the Fulton County Courthouse. They're getting ready over there. He is going to be indicted there, too. So, yeah, they're ready to do that one when they need it, for sure.
Schwerin visited the White House at least 27 times, while Biden was VP, visited the Naval Observatory 13 times, and there's even a WAPO mention of Biden personally stopping by Graffiato in D.C. as soon as a restaurant to say hello. Daniel Goldman later this week. Obviously, no business was discussed in any of these dozen meetings. Eric was just selling the illusion of moving Joe Biden's money around. That's a joke. That's from Tom Elliott. 2008, Senator Barack Obama sought more than $3.4 million in congressional earmarks for Hunter's clients, the Washington Post reported at the time. Schwerin stayed with the lobbying firm until 2008. That same year, Joe Biden was elected vice president of the United States, and both Hunter Biden and Schwerin were ready for their next moves. Conveniently, in 2004, Schwerin had purchased a 3-bedroom townhouse in the upscale Glover Park neighborhood of Washington, D.C. The area, known for ambassadors' residence and stately homes, is a 20-minute walk from the Naval Observatory, where President Biden's...
I think we've driven through there. It is really pretty there.
Yes. By the end of Biden's term as vice president, Schwerin had become a D.C. power player. His birthday was noted in Political Playbook, and he served as chairman of 826 D.C., a trendy nonprofit dedicated to helping students develop creative and expository writing skills. Photos from 2014 show him partying in D.C. with John McGrail at a reception for the sports docuseries American Muscle. That same year, Hunter Biden successfully lobbied for McGrail to be named deputy counsel to the vice president. During a 2016 dinner at Graffiato in D.C., Joe Biden popped in to say hello to Schwerin, causing a small stir among onlookers, the Washington Post reported at the time.
Yeah, and, so there is, there's also all these bank records came out today as well. So this has been, Fox News has been reporting on this, Daily Mail's been reporting on this, Washington Examiner, this stuff's everywhere, including, the one that seems especially egregious is Biden took a Kazakh, Hunter took a Kazakh oligarch to dinner, who then wired him $142,000 with which he bought himself a Porsche. And at the dinner, of course, he brought his dad, because why wouldn't you? So does anyone think at this point that this isn't like a thing where they're selling Joe Biden as the product?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how can you parse the words all you want with saying it's just the illusion of access to Joe Biden, but like, when you're like, yeah, I bring my dad to dinner, and then the person sends you $142,000.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, like, what the argument is. Do people just not care? Like, I don't.
No one was asking, guess who's coming to dinner in this case. It was.
I mean, I'm just wondering, like, for the regular, like, Blue Anon people, right? Because we know a ton of them, suburban ladies, generally speaking, with a little blue wave in their profile that put on pantsuits to go vote for Hillary Clinton, and were all excited that night until they weren't, and have been upset by Trump and fantasizing about his arrest ever since. For those people, like, does this really not bother you at all? You sat in front of Maddow every night and you ate up all this stuff about Deutsche Bank and oligarchs and yachts, and you followed all these different characters and meeting places and times and all these little threads. I mean, like, serious conspiracy theory stuff.
Yes.
For months and years, you followed all these little threads watching your Maddow conspiracy show.
Right.
But like, this blatant, like, Hunter invited somebody out to dinner with his dad, who then sent him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like that, nothing like pings for you. No lights go off.
No, and
Zero.
This ability to calibrate one's mind and move the goalposts when things are closing in is brilliant. It's like, Mrs. Jones and Mr. Smith, both married to other people. They didn't get a hotel room together. Okay, fine. We found out Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones, great, got a hotel room together. But, they were playing Parcheesi. Okay, fine. They got a hotel room together, and she came out looking disheveled, and they both, were in slightly state of undresses. That's fine, but they could have been feasibly wrestling in the room. It's like, with suspending, logical belief. No, Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones got the hotel room, and we are first inkling of the 3 hours in the hotel room. It's not really all you need to do. It's a safe bet. That what happened there. It's a safe bet that when Joe goes to dinner and somebody then cuts a check for Hunter, who then buys a sports car or whatever he does, that we know the transaction is. Everybody knows what the transaction is, but you can't be like saying that. Okay, Mr. Jones mistakenly stumbled off the chair, and then his mouth collided with hers, mistakenly causing her blouse to explode open. You're really causing things. You're really, really desperately trying to make this work out for you. And like we had, well, I won't say who we talked to, but you'll hear next week. People are really needing to wrap their mind around what's happened. The problem is that I think that Joe Biden is who they said Donald Trump was. And so it puts a lot of people in a tough position because they've spent a long time telling you about how corrupt and awful Donald Trump was. Mm-hmm. And the son enriched himself, and they this and that, and they're thieves. And, crooks. Joe Biden's a crook. That's the problem.
And it's funny because, well, a few hundred episodes ago, we had an episode called Everything with the Left is Projection. And it's still true. Like, anything they accuse other people of, it's only because they do it. When they say racist, it's because they're racist.
Yes, when they say that the other side's working with the Russians, they're working with the Russians.
Yeah, when they say it's corruption and self-dealing, it's because they're corrupt and self-dealing. Like, they only have vocabulary to point fingers for stuff that they themselves do. And so you can reliably say that anything that they have accused Trump of is something that they've partaken in.
Especially
or would
Biden,
in.
when he vehemently gets loud and in the faces of reporters who ask him this stuff. That's the tell. That's the tell with Biden that you've hit pay dirt.
Did you see him with Ducey today?
No.
I sent it to us.
Okay.
I sent it to us with Ducey because Ducey asked him today about the Hunter Biden stuff as well. It's in the videos I sent. I can see if I can.
It's just getting there slowly. Again. Alice and I live together, but don't see each other.
It's been a crazy day. Here, let me send it to the top of the heap again here. But yeah, it's just he's so like I don't understand. And Mark in the chat says, regular people, the Blue Anon people aren't hearing about this stuff. It's not in any of their news. They just don't know, And Morgan says like, well, nobody stood up for COVID. Yeah, it's true, but like, it's just weird, like the level of interest in like stupid conspiracy theories about Trump or stupid conspiracy theories, however many years ago about Diebold voting machines or whatever they were, and everybody has time for their own team's weird conspiracy theories, but this stuff seems so blatant and obvious. I just don't understand. Like, are you sticking your fingers in your ears and saying la 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 this whole time?
There's this testimony now where one of your son's former business associates is claiming that you were on speakerphone a lot with them talking business. Is that what?
Never talk business with anybody. And I knew you'd have a lousy question.
Well, why is that a lousy question?
Because it's not true.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I can't believe they let Ducey get that close to him.
I know. You would think the secret
Wait a second.
What?
Is that the Monty Python song?
There's this testimony now where one of your son's former business associates
I don't know, it's the Daily Caller
claiming
video.
that you
Maybe so.
were on
but that's music being piped through in the background.
Oh, I don't know.
That's the Monty Python music.
Phone a lot with
well, maybe
them,
Monty Python
business.
didn't invent the music. Maybe
I know they didn't, but still,
else.
it makes me happy.
I knew you'd have a lousy question.
Well, why is that a lousy question?
Because it's
It's a lousy question, honey.
Joe Biden did his thing again, as a matter of fact, today, where he does this thing.
Unless you make more than $400,000 a year, your federal taxes aren't going to go up a single penny. Guess what?
By the way, that's not true. Your federal taxes aren't going to go up a single penny.
I did all this without raising anybody's taxes in the middle class.
Did all this.
One other little thing. During this process, I cut the federal budget in 2 years by $1.7 trillion.
That ain't going to sell.
Yeah,
that ain't going to sell.
Because we were in COVID at the beginning, and so everybody was spending money, including Trump, like it was going out of style. Like we talked about the other day with the DeSantis shot on Trump for the deficit. That it's a little bit of a cheap shot because it was all this bipartisan COVID stuff. So then Biden saying he reduced the deficit because they stopped doing COVID stuff because COVID ended, even though they're trying to make it a thing again. Did you see there's a new variant?
Yeah, in New York, right? It's that one?
Yeah. It's so dumb. Just stop. Just give up. It's ridiculous. At this point, like, come on, guys. Nobody buys the new variant. We're done now. But, so anyway, yeah,
What's wrong?
I totally lost my train of thought completely.
That's okay.
It's gone. It's gone. You know what brought me joy today, though?
What?
The Hollywood writers and actors are starting to be upset about being on strike. They haven't gotten what they wanted yet.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Welcome to what a strike is. Because it's where you don't get paid, right?
Can you imagine that?
Isn't that the idea of a strike?
Being indignant that you don't wait, but it makes us happy to get our way.
I know. But
Tom Shattuck's life will not be affected by this writer strike or the actor strike.
Hollywood writers and actors feel financial pinch as strikes drag on. Rank and file union members in the picket lines are starting to worry about their savings and professional options running out. You could also work. It's also an option.
Right, you won't feel a pinch if you work.
I know. You could work for the studios and not be in a dumb union, but how's it working out for you? I don't know.
Right.
When the Writers Guild of America went on strike in early May, a first-year member of the union who most recently worked on an Apple TV Plus series was gripped by panic. She was already struggling to find her next writing job, and now she would most likely be out of work for months. The writer, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because she was concerned about professional repercussions, said she fully supports her WGA colleagues who are on the picket lines, but she's taking a financial hit, uncertain when she will have a steady flow of income again.
I can't use my name because my own union will devour me.
Will turn on me.
Yes, and terrorize me.
Yeah, I mean, here's what being in the union and paying them all your money gets you is that they make you be on strike and don't allow you to work for a living right now. So congratulations on your union. I feel like I'm subsidizing this strike with my savings in a way that's starting to get scary, the 35-year-old writer said.
What are savings?
She has cobbled together stopgap gigs, dog walking, nannying, assisting someone with travel arrangements, filling out online surveys that pay literal pennies. She's relying on food assistance and living off savings she had squirreled away over the last 5 years. She expects she can last on her cash reserves for 6 months before fully tanking.
Imagine being able to live in your cash reserves for 6 months. What is that like?
I wrote an award-winning show last year, she said, and I'm literally picking up dog bleep right now. Sucks to be
you know what? You could be writing on the award-winning show.
I know. Instead of striking. But
there's a lot of writers needed.
She's not the only Hollywood professional feeling anxious. This is from NBC News today, by the way. The industry's rank-and-file screenwriters have been on the job for 100 days, and screen actors have been on strike for more than 3 weeks. The dual labor stoppages, sorry, that word took me by surprise, have pushed some workaday scribes and performers into precarious financial situations with no end in sight. Both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, the actors union, appear to be far away from reaching deals on new contracts.
Shame.
With the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, a trade association that bargains on behalf of major studios and streaming platforms. The group represents NBC Universal. WGA and AMPTP representatives met face-to-face Friday for the first time in 3 months, but the two sides have not agreed to resume negotiations. This sucks for the, everyday writers. And I hate to tell them, a lot of them probably don't write as well as ChatGPT does.
Yeah, you know what? Also, I don't like about this is okay, well, I have to walk dogs in the meantime. It's like there are dog walkers who do that for a living, and they're just absconding with the potential clients for real dog walkers.
Right.
I don't like that. I think dog walkers should be a little territorial.
The entertainment industry workers have expressed dismay on social media over a quote published by the trade publication Deadline that attributed an unnamed studio executive with the quote, "The end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing apartments and houses," the executive was quoted
Wait a
as
second.
saying.
Management gets to fight back? We get to try to strangle this company from here? And then they get to retaliate against us? Only we get to strangle.
And it's especially rough because they're having an actually really good blockbuster summer, a lot of the studios, because the Barbie Oppenheimer boom and all this stuff, they're raking in a lot of cash, and they've already paid they don't have to pay anybody right now. So to the studios, it's game on, they're making a ton of money at the moment.
Yeah.
And they don't have to pay any actors and writers.
And actually, it's funny. It doesn't affect me at all because all the Mad Men episodes have been written, and that's all I'm watching these days.
Yeah.
But it actually could just make people go back to rewatching stuff that was written fantastic. You can watch Mad Men and Sopranos and be very satisfied.
Yeah, it's better than a lot of new stuff. The writers and actors on strike are seeking higher base compensation, stricter safeguards against the use of AI, and other changes to the status quo. We're not enjoying this. We're not doing this because we make a bleep load of money and we want more money. We're doing this because AI is a huge issue, because people might lose work.
They do make a bleep load of money.
Yeah, and not only that, yeah, you can lose your work to AI, which is why maybe striking against the companies that are going to replace a bunch of you with AI and only pay 3 non-union writers to fix up the
question,
AI stuff.
Allison.
Yeah.
I was a professional columnist.
I do.
And you've edited stuff for me. In fact, you've inspired, if not created, some content for me in the past. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I've had a heavy hand in some of your columns, yes.
Well, no, please. The crappy ones, maybe. Well, how about this? Can we be scabs? I want to do scab writing work. I am willing to be a scab and break the picket line as long as I can do it from here. Pay us.
Paul Veracci, a SAG-AFTRA stunt performer and fight coordinator whose television credits include The Good Fight and Daredevil, feels he has been taking it on the chin all year. He used to supplement his stunt work with a job at Disney on a team that oversees COVID health and safety protocols on sets. But he was laid off in early June amid company-wide cuts.
Ooh, I like that.
Then came the strike, which he feels has put his performance career on pause indefinitely. Wait, you're telling me that this June of 2023... They laid off the COVID safety protocol people. That's a tough one. I've lost everything, including my side hustle, he said, referring to his job at Disney.
What an LA weasel way to talk. I lost my side hustle. F you, dude.
Dana Morgan, a stunt performer and actor who's worked on shows like Dead Ringers and Madam Secretary, said she and her husband are dipping into their savings to survive. He got a job at a restaurant to help pay the bills.
Dipping into your savings? Wait, are you complaining to me about dipping into your savings?
She's having a difficult time finding remote work and is on a wait list for a gig with Uber Eats. The strike exacted a cost on Morgan's side hustle, too. In addition to her on-screen career, she acts as a liaison between physical locations and productions hoping to shoot there. But because the vast majority of film and TV projects are on hold, so is her secondary source of income. Morgan,
I'd like to add an addendum.
Mm-hmm. Yes, addendum?
I exempt my cousin Lily's husband, Adam, from this, in case it's affecting him. I don't want him to be affected. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
he was
true.
actually a guest on the Burn Barrel.
He was a guest on the Burn Barrel on him. So they have a foundation that raised like $15 million because a bunch of the A-listers donated to it, but they're all like this. It's all stories like this. And the actors, did you see I sent us? Billy Porter is complaining that he might lose his house. That's the man who wears all the dresses.
I remember. He's saying for what it's worth.
And he was the fairy godmother in the new thing.
You know what?
Yeah, they're all upset.
I love this writer's strike. I love it. I love it.
Billy Porter says he has to sell his house due to the SAG strikes. Curses out Disney CEO Bob Iger. I'm so enraged. Billy Porter, who shot to fame and won an Emmy on the effects drama Pose, now says he has to sell his house due to the financial strain of the strike.
So wait a second. There's no more writers for Pose?
I guess. I don't know. And the actors are on strike now, too. They've been on strike for 3 weeks, so maybe
Every Hollywood actor? Like SAG, remember?
Yeah.
That's great.
The actors are on strike,
That's
too now.
great. You know my star turn, Alice. I snuck into the SAG line. SAG line. What do you mean, yeah? Why are you saying yes over me? This is a personal anecdote.
Okay, go for it.
Goodwill
Tell
Hunting,
your personal anecdote.
I did a read for Goodwill Hunting, and it was so awful that I snuck into the SAG line because SAG got to go first. And it was at the L Street Bathhouse or something. No jokes here. And for Goodwill Hunting. And I flubbed my line so badly. It was so horrible. It was so embarrassing. I don't even know how I flubbed it like that. It didn't make any sense. But it was so bad. And they recorded this. This is on video recorder. They recorded all of the trials that they had me do it again because they felt everybody was uncomfortable in the room. Hundreds of people. I'm sure Affleck and Damon were there. This was before anybody knew who they were.
Right.
But the only name that I recognized was Robin Williams in the one sheet on the thing. Oh God.
Yeah.
My every star turn I've had, including the screenplay I wrote, which you've never seen that, have you?
No, I haven't seen that. Is that you and Ted?
No, me and Liddy. You don't know him.
Okay.
It's horrifically bad. There's not a cliche that I thought was groundbreaking intellect that I left out of it. I can think. I'm so glad you don't know. I don't even know what to say. It was a horrifically badly written thing. The only thing that's better about me than other pseudo-intellectual, mostly unemployed people who think they're writers is that I at least admit that my thing is bad. It was terrible, Alice. Terrible. Yeah. You don't understand. This is so awful. I'm gonna give you. I was like, basically, me and the other guy were creating composites of the ourselves we wanted to be. My co-writer, and
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
That's called a Mary Sue.
Oh,
we
is
covered this on a past Burn Barrel episode.
I should find a piece at some point just to show you how.
Yeah, but so Billy Porter, whose net worth,
you're thoroughly disinterested. Yeah. Get back to Billy Porter,
whose net worth is estimated at $5 million. Says he has to sell his house because he lives paycheck to paycheck, he says.
Damn, Billy.
I was supposed to be in a new movie and a new television show starting in September. Now none of that is happening, he says.
Alice, let me ask you something. You're a Christian, right?
Yes.
What does it mean that I feel so freaking happy about this?
It's probably not positive.
It's like, it's really brightening my day.
I told you it would make you feel better.
It's great. Should we go to Mike
You don't
Pence?
want to hear any more?
I want to hear
writers?
more. I want to hear more writers.
Deshaun has managed to live off a nest egg of earnings he generated from writing jobs before the strike, but he by no means feels comfortable his savings will last unless we go back to work soon.
I love this idea of savings.
Yeah, so there.
My savings right now is the what's that bet? Is the DraftKings money that I inserted because it's $100 minimum that I can't get
that
to
you
now.
haven't spent yet because
Yes,
you have
I
to
can't-
spend it across the New Hampshire border or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan says the strike absolutely needed to happen in part because her SAG-AFTRA peers are forcefully pushing back against what she described as a systemic problem in the business. More work for less pay and an increasingly smaller slice of corporate profits. The pain that we are suffering financially is a short-term sacrifice for something that's going to help us in the long run, she
I'm
said.
enjoying this more than
Will-
any pornography I've ever enjoyed.
We'll survive, she
It's
said.
great.
There you go. So that's going well. The AI thing is interesting too. I've been following a few like AI writing stories because it is going to replace a bunch of them, because basically what you can have it do is you can have it like write the bones of something and then clean it up into something worthwhile. But it's like easier to work, and most of the stuff that everybody's churning out is junk anyway.
I have to bring something up to you on that along
Yeah.
those lines. I saw this Facebook ad this morning, and it was this woman, kind of bookish looking but pretty,
Okay.
blonde woman, and it was about, and she was saying, you give me like 90 days and I will sell your podcast, market your podcast, so you have this. It was this ad for selling podcasts, which makes sense. So later tonight, so then during the day, I was, for some reason, I don't think I signed up for this, but maybe I did. I get Reddit notifications for hot women in media or something.
Something you've known
like
has told
anchors-
Reddit that you
yes.
like looking
So
at hot
anyway,
women in media.
So anyway, I get my
I
daily
don't know
hot
where
woman,
they'd get that.
this hot anchor out of
idea.
Orlando or whatever. So I'm looking. I go to Reddit. And I look at her pictures, and it's this tall, statuesque blonde lady with all sorts of just cleavage of this and that. And that. So then listen to this. Later tonight, Alice, I get on Facebook another paid ad. Same thing. We can make your podcast, sell it, and if you give me 90 days, and I'll sell your podcast and this and that. This time, the woman is more blonde and bosomy than before. And I thought to myself, could they be watching who I'm seeing and saying, give him somebody who looks like that to pitch it?
Probably.
So I bought it, obviously. Interesting.
Good. Yeah. No, the AI stuff is interesting. There were a few AI stories in the writing world. I mean, writers and the literary world are not ready for this because the technology is moving faster than their ability to control it, and this isn't easily controlled by existing copyright law. Not that it necessarily even should be, but if you, and we've listened to some of this, like if you make music in the style of Eminem and it writes lyrics in the style of Eminem and you have an AI generated voice that sounds like Eminem singing the lyrics, like, are you violating Eminem's copyright? He didn't make that music, but you trained the AI on his stuff, obviously. Right,
so, but there are, but I don't see how that. I mean, there have always been bands that they're very derivative, who aren't AI,
right.
Who are just like Bush was just trying to be Nirvana. But I mean, doesn't mean Nirvana sued Bush, but you could tell.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes people do get, if things are very similar, a lot of artists are paying each other royalties on stuff.
Well, I know, but just stylistically. I mean,
right.
you can stylistically,
but yeah,
as long as you don't steal the copyrighted material.
Right. So this is an interesting question. An author a fairly big author who writes about writing, like about how to write, she recently complained to Amazon to try and take down, there's a bunch of books, she said like a half a dozen books that people are selling on Amazon because you can self-publish on Amazon that are like written. They're not even, they're listed as being written by her, but she didn't write them. Somebody's just selling them, put her name, trained it on her work, made new books, put her name on them, and is selling them on Amazon under her name. Right? Because she's known. So, and then they were added to her Goodreads profile, which you probably don't even know what Goodreads is, but it's like a reading website where like it lists authors and their books and you can like log which ones you've read and review them and stuff. But users add the books to the author's profile. So people have added these books to her profile as though she wrote them, but she didn't write them. And she's complaining to Amazon, trying to get them taken down. And Amazon's saying, well, your name is Jane Friedman. That's not like trademarked. There's lots of Jane Friedmans in the world. You don't own the words Jane Friedman. Anybody can write an AI book in your style and put it on Amazon and put your name on it.
Oh my goodness.
And
that seems to me that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, but people think they're written by her because they're obviously
of course, it's
written
her name
and her style.
Yes.
It's been trained on her work. So she eventually, because she's a big enough person, she eventually got like some publishing legal group involved and they yelled at Amazon and got stuff taken down. But I mean, like for people who are smaller or, people in general, like the legal framework and the standards for like what gets sold on Amazon, none of that's like kept up with where the technology is to do it, so, and now like all the authors and writers are so like gun shy about anything that says AI. They also like had this moral panic freak out on this random guy this week. He runs a website called Prosecraft, and he has a writing tool called Shakespeare that he's trained on a bunch of authors' work. So he has all these different authors' books. And he's had for years, since like 2017, before these large language model AIs were a thing. He's had a website where he's fed all these books into a data analysis program and come up with like how many positive words, how many negative words, trying to like graph the emotional arc of the story using the numbers of words and where they fall in the story. And like, he does this sort of statistical analysis as a part of his like tool to help writers, and like writers can use the tool to help them like graph their own work and compare it to work they like to see if they're like making a story the same way as like an author that they like or whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't write anything for you. It's not a language model. It wouldn't be able to do that. So, but all these authors freaked out at him because they realized that their work was being fed into a quote AI and demanded that he take the whole thing down. And they're like saying they're contacting lawyers and all this stuff, even though it's very, very well established that you can take books. I mean, like there have been cases because like Google Books has done this. Google Books has put a ton of books online and stuff and like put summaries of them up and stuff. You can, it is fair use to publish a summary of how many words are in a book and what types of words they are, and like publish the data about it that you've done analysis on. Because it's not, the key thing about fair use is that the idea is that you wouldn't be able to replace income for the author, right? Like, nobody's going to read your data summary of Jane Eyre instead of reading Jane Eyre,
Right.
like that's the point. And like that's well-established fair use. He's totally within the confines of the law. He's not doing anything wrong. He's not publishing anything in the style of anybody, but because the writing community is so freaked out about AI right now and what it means to them, as they rightly should be, because a lot of writers, including a lot of writers who sell very, very well, are not great writers.
Right.
And, their jobs are absolutely in danger from AI. The stuff like, I mean, like the Twilight stuff and books like that, like you could churn that out in a second. You could feed in the Twilights and come out with more Twilights immediately. They're nothing revolutionary and huge. And those sell better than lots of much, quote, better writing. So
Yeah.
So for companies, that's like a no-brainer. People want this stuff and they're, the tools exist to do it. So it's going to happen, and it's going to happen more. It's also a huge problem for like fiction magazines and publications.
Could we AI this show?
I mean, maybe.
And our visages, so we can be
maybe. I don't know.
somewhere else. I want to hit this very quickly. It's I know just a nod back to the Biden stuff. Elizabeth Warren was asked about the Biden family business by Jake Tapper just a moment ago.
Republicans on the House Oversight Committee say that they have identified more than $20 million in payments from foreign sources to the Biden family, including Hunter Biden and their business associates. So far, we haven't seen any direct evidence pointing to Joe Biden, President Biden, doing anything illegal. And I don't necessarily know what's everything that's in this. But I do wonder on a broader level, the 30,000-foot view of this. People close to people close to Joe Biden, or people close to Donald Trump, but I'm talking about Joe Biden, making tens of millions of dollars because of their closeness to him. That can't be something that you like. That can't be something that you're comfortable with as a phenomenon.
Look, I always worry about the influence peddlers in Washington, regardless of party affiliation. One of the things, as you know, I've spent a lot of my time in Congress working on is how we bring just more ethics and more oversight in general to everything that we do in government. We've got a United States Supreme Court where people take gifts and don't even report them, even though the law requires them to report.
Our senator sucks. Both of them.
Yeah, they're both bad.
I mean, you could read into that. Obviously, she went, she zigged.
Deflecting.
But also, she didn't exonerate him.
Yeah.
She's probably one of the many senators who are saying could be a good thing for us. We can get this guy out of here. Pretty much everybody that we've been talking to for next week, to a person does not believe
starting to become a problem.
Well, and that Biden's not going to be the nominee.
Yeah, or if he is, he'll be president for about 15 minutes before they move on.
Alice, what's the hot sauce?
The hot sauce is the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. They bring us the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline Chat.
See him right there. BB.
Burn Barrel.
Tommy and H.
Okay.
You can see that.
Look it. Tommy hasn't called in a while. Welcome back, Tommy.
Alice, we always knew there was a couple of things that were probably going to take Tom out in the next few years.
Yeah.
Alcoholism, gluttony.
Yep.
But before we get to that stage, there's a couple of things I find disturbing that Tom seems to be talking about lately.
What?
His affinity for one point going to gay bars and listening to Denise Williams music. I have a feeling he's going to kick the door open on that closet at some point in the next 5 years. You've been warned.
Let the record show that.
I think you like women.
Let's hear it for the. Thank you, Alice. You see, there's one good thing Alice can
I'm
say about
on
me.
Pregnancy number 5.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
Thank you, and that was my girlfriend, Stacy Riga, gave me that song as our song at Winchester High. No, Winchester
Elementary.
That was elementary school, actually. So that was an important song to one of my earliest heterosexual relationships. The gay bar stuff happened because as a guy in my 20s,
especially working in the hospitality
industry, but also when I was underage and going to the Red Hat, there was a gay bar down the street. That Red Hat would close, and the gay bar would still be open. And me and my friend were young meat, so we were just going there and get
They'd
drinks.
let you in.
They would let us in. Yeah, absolutely.
They were hoping you'd get drunk enough that
absolutely
the lines would blur.
I don't think anything happened, but it's very possible. So there you go. That's the story behind that. Oh man, I was a smoker, as in smoking cigarettes, Tim. And the
you
gay
mean
bar.
Tommy?
No, I mean this is to Tim because he's most likely to misconstrue something. Right? The bar Chaps, which was down near I forgot what those streets called. Warrenton, maybe? No, it's not Warrenton. Maybe it is Warrenton. Where the Blue Man Group used to play, near the Charles Playhouse. There was a gay bar named Chaps. And one time, as a smoker, Alice, of cigarettes, they were giving out half packs of Parliament cigarettes as the promotion there. I was in my glory because I smoked. I mean, yeah, that's why. It was in my glory at the gay bar named Chaps because I smoked is why I was in my glory. All right?
Okay.
Shut up or I'll get her pregnant again, all right?
Oh, they asked me at my doctor's appointment today what we plan on doing for birth control next.
Well, I mean, my impending suicide probably will help in that.
I didn't say that.
Hi, Tom and Alice. You really
Hey.
need to coordinate your vacation times with Kirk because he's off next week and you guys are off next week, which means no KMS, no burn barrel, no all you can eat. I mean, what are we left with? Jerry, Blind Mike, and Montante?
Some great content there, by the way.
What a hideous week ahead.
I love all three of those guys.
I like all those too. And we've been working really hard this week to have some content ready to come out next week for you guys.
Feel free to uninstall from that Blind Mike Patreon.
No,
and
don't.
Come join us.
No,
I want that money reallocated to us. He's got like 7,000 Patreon. He's making like $100,000 a month now. Enough of this. I'm like
we're Blind Mike.
I'm like who's the gay actor in the dress who sings who's on strike? We're living paycheck
Billy
to paycheck.
Porter.
Yes, I'm Billy Porter here, guys.
Okay. Except
not actually gay at Chaps. It was just for the cigarettes.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Let me turn that down.
Hey guys, when it comes to Barstool, I was wondering what happened to that pitch you guys made to Big Cat, and if there's any possibility now of the Burn Barrel podcast joining Barstool. I think it's a perfect match.
Well, thank you. There is a possibility of us joining Barstool.
There is?
Well, let me put it this way. Not if they have anything to say about it, but there's a possibility in the sense that they could take the Burn Barrel podcast. I have a contract with one company for one show, but this Burn Barrel podcast is free as a bird.
And clear. I did read more about that deal. Did you read more about the deal?
The Portnoy's got a non-compete, etc.
Yeah, but did you see he bought the brand back for $0?
Yeah, I saw that.
He sold it to them for $500 million 3 years ago and got it back for $0.
Yeah, I assume this.
But then they have the non-compete, so they get to be with ESPN.
He can't do anything gambling.
They can't do any sports books. They can't get any advertising from sports books or endorse any other like sports books. So, and there's a revenue share for if they ever sell the company. So if they ever sell Barstool again, Penn will get like 50% of that.
Right. But
that's like wild.
It's amazing, isn't it?
What a deal.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it makes me like the Penn CEO. So as far as where our pitch is at Barstool, I've sent about 3 to Erica Nardini. Those were deleted, I believe, upon receipt. I've sent 2. This is back over the span of a couple of years. 2 to Portnoy. Those were probably ignored, certainly deleted. And I sent.
You guys know about anything Tom sends to Kirk because he'll read it on
I should or send to anybody else. And I sent one to some kid named Hank over there. And that was ignored. Then I sent the last one once I got my signed contract. My last one I had seconds left. That one I sent to Big Cat. He sent that to Kirk, and Kirk put it in the shredder. So I feel pretty positive that
a lot of
that now
back
Dave's
channel discussion.
Yes,
I would you say, can call it that.
I would say things are looking pretty good.
Okay.
I always wanted to live in Manhattan now. Although if I worked for them, I'd go to Chicago. There's no way I wouldn't go to Chicago. First of all, I'd divorce you. Second of all, in Chicago, big time.
Yeah, hopefully maybe this time when you guys come up to Avon, Connecticut, when you're doing your Salvation of Everything, this time you'll actually try the hot sauce that I brought.
Try the what?
Another hot sauce that he wants you to try.
Oh, did I not try one that you brought, Fritz? I would. There's no way I wouldn't try one. I'm a hot sauce guy.
I think it's like 7 million Scoville units.
Ooh.
So maybe try it on a toothpick. I think there's something in the works too. They want to do a bowling thing with a bunch of the listeners and callers. That'll be a lot of fun. Later, throw the bowling ball. Whee!
Yeah, the bowling thing was thought up by Rudy in Connecticut, and that is about the thing is that Roland is the producer of the show is a like semi-professional bowler. So is Christine Rebstock. So these people are like major league.
Not like
so I
us
guess,
with the lane bumpers on, getting like
right.
2.
So I'm in the gambling business now. There you go. I can compete with Penn.
A lot of questions in the chat about where we're going to be on vacation, by the way.
We're going to be in New England for vacation, possibly crisscrossing here and there all around the square. That's the
That's your official.
I don't know. You can say we're.
I don't know.
Oh, here we go. 544. What does that mean? It's / Kathy Green.
Okay.
/ just a beauty for the ages. / Smoky Voice, which she did. And then there's her Kathy.Green at OnlyFans.com. I can't believe Kathy would sing to OnlyFans. She lived in a nice part of Winchester. Not in the hills where Kirk lived, but in the, if you want to know else, we call it the flats. The flats.
Okay.
Hi, Tom. I hear you've been talking about me.
That's not Kathy.
Well, give me a ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling sometime. Not so, big boy.
Oh, my goodness. Kathy actually, when I was a fat teenager, Kathy, well, she was drunk at a party. Well, I won't want to say this. Everybody was drunk. We had a house party. My brother had a house party that I was not invited to, but I lived there, so I had to be included. And Kathy had a very good talk with me. She told me that I needed to lose weight, and if I didn't lose weight, I wouldn't get a girlfriend, I wouldn't be attractive, so I should just do it and suck it up. And it was very good advice. Very good. And I pretty much did. And then I didn't.
But you still got a girlfriend anyway.
Well, you mean you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually somebody was crazy enough.
Okay, this one's called All You Can Eat Podcast. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's an attack on a beloved product in the All You Can Eat podcast. We'll save that for an All You Can Eat pod. Those, I've heard my moles tell me there's possibly some of those may be coming out next week. BBP.
Burn Barrel Podcast.
I am. Sofa King.
Okay.
Stu, last name Ped. I'm not sure what that means.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Alice.
Hey.
Tom, I just want to congratulate you for sticking to your guns on the no pedicures and
Correct.
no slides for men.
Correct.
Men don't do that.
Yep.
But I got to tell you what else men don't do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let their 7-year-old sleep with them. I'm afraid for you, brother.
Dude.
I can see Alice breastfeeding this lady's kid until she's about 14.
I don't breastfeed
so
him.
if I were you, I'd be careful.
Let me tell you something. You are not far off. First of all, yeah, the last one you breastfed for longer, just as a tool. We know it's wrong, but this other
not till 7.
But our son is coming into bed. Sometimes 2 of them come into bed, and believe me, he's 140,000 degrees. It makes the whole bed hot, and he kicks me and he wakes me up constantly.
He's a very restless sleeper.
Yes.
And which is why he wakes up every single night and comes into our bed.
Right, but if we put him into his own bed and he wakes up, he may be a loud, awake person.
Well, we do put him into his own bed. I
Yes.
start him off in his bed
Yes.
every night, and he comes into our bed, and we're just too exhausted and tired to move him back.
Correct.
So what's with the DuckDuckGo references over the past week or two? Are you guys getting at?
Well, what other search engine is there? What are you suggesting? I don't understand. DuckDuckGo is the search engine. It's the easy button for privacy. You got to shake off these trackers. DuckDuckGo is like Chrome, but it doesn't spy on you. Gives me peace of mind because when I'm watching my children, I don't want these trackers to be watching my kids. You know, you can get DuckDuckGo at the App Store, or just simply go to DuckDuckGo.com. I don't know what he's suggesting.
Advertising money from them, or are you seeking out their advertisement?
What kind of prostitute, good sir, do you think I am? They are a sponsor for
the radio show.
For WTIC, correct.
It just seems like there's a lot of references lately
Yes.
to doing the DuckDuckGo search.
Yes.
And you guys may be the only people that I know that
Whoa!
use DuckDuckGo.
That is woe betide
Well,
you.
you should start.
Woe
and
betide
start
you.
telling other people.
That's because the
to
trackers
also.
got to you, my friend. They are watching you right now.
I'm already annoying at my work because we're like QA testing a bunch of new websites, and they're like, everybody try it on a bunch of different browsers and on your phone and on this. And DuckDuckGo, you may not realize, has an actual browser app. So I'm like, it's working everywhere else, but this feature isn't working in DuckDuckGo. It's not aligning correctly.
Yes, it is working in DuckDuckGo. It's perfect in DuckDuckGo.
But then I
Everything
make the site team go back and readjust it to make sure that it also works in DuckDuckGo.
Perfect in DuckDuckGo, and you don't have to worry about those
So
trackers.
I've taught a lot of people now about
By the way,
DuckDuckGo.
I have an immediate relative of mine who's an IT guy. DuckDuckGo
uses DuckDuckGo.
You have an immediate sibling, DuckDuckGo. You now have a new sibling, DuckDuckGo. These are big IT guys. Security.
My sibling-in-law?
Yeah, sibling-in-law. DuckDuckGo.
Not saying it's a bad thing, and if you're looking for their money, that's wonderful, but just a lot of DuckDuckGo references.
Don't know what that. It's a very organic mention, by the way. You could DuckDuckGo them. You can find them online. Okay. Let me see. Let me make sure I get this right here. DuckDuckGo. Dr. Cheswick.
It is pronounced pecan. Pecan.
Pecan.
A pecan is what your grandmother kept under her bed in rural Kansas.
Do you get it?
I get it.
You get it?
Up in the 30s.
No.
Pecan.
It's not pecan. That's a
It is
film festival.
right.
No, that is incorrect. It is pecan. We're up here in the Northeast where we came in wooden boats, my friend. Pecan. Oh, my good. Oh, I do respect the pecan, don't you?
I love pecan.
Pecan pie? Pecan in our
We've
yogurt?
been having them in yogurt. in the
That's too
morning.
delicious. By the way, I've gained weight. So how the hell did that happen? Is that your yogurt?
No,
sneaking up on me?
it's not my yogurt.
This bubble, this says SFM, Sam Smith Shattuck. Now, Sam Smith is different than me because, one, he's very portly. Two, he's a transsexual or a transformative. What is he?
He's a non-binary.
Yes, okay.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hi, Steve.
It's really a mystery to me. How does one go 50 years without ever having seen The Shining? You are such a soy boy. My God. What else haven't you seen? Have you ever seen Jaws?
That I have seen. I haven't seen The Shining.
Tom doesn't like scary things.
Well, I've seen Jaws. I've seen all 17 Jawses. But there are a couple of other things that I haven't seen that I probably should have. But I think The Shining's probably the biggest one that have references. It doesn't look good to me. I see this stuff in the hotel and like in snowmobiles and stuff, and it's like
It's pretty good, but the book is better.
Have you ever seen The French Connection?
I have not seen The French Connection.
I
There's
haven't
another
either.
one. These are all ones that John Sapichetti used to talk about all the time. I have not seen The French Connection either, but 70s movies are very gritty to me. They remind me, maybe it's bad memories from like being in the back of Chevy Novas and things in the 70s.
The Exorcist?
I have not seen The Exorcist.
I've seen The Exorcist.
I know that George Patton is in that one, but I have not seen The Exorcist. The guy just died who made The Exorcist.
God. You really are the Sam Smith of the Bird Barrel podcast. You non-binary soy boy,
That is incorrect.
they spouting queen. Jesus. You know, you are half man, half non-fat dry milk. That's what you are. Thank you. Have a good evening.
It could be misconstrued as an insult, by the way, Alice. I'm happy. I look forward to Sam Smith's next great masterwork, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the great chat messages. Fantastic chat today.
I found some of them
I
to
loved
be
it.
de rigueur. What does de rigueur mean?
It's okay. We'll go over it later.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. You can leave a chat message at burnbarrelpodcast.com. If you would like to pay us for the Burn Barrel podcast, and then you get some extra stuff or some stuff early, or you get to be on the live stream, that's patreon.com/burnbarrel. Oh, ice cream.